The unknown threat. Titan Station's control room was buzzing with tension. The data from the Kryn dreadnought had revealed something no one could explain. A signal, embedded deep in the ship's failing systems. A message, or perhaps a warning. Commander Elias Carter stood at the center of the room, his arms crossed as he watched the holographic projection of the growing fleet outside. More ships had arrived, all with the same mysterious system failures, and they all carried traces of the same hidden transmission. "This isn't an isolated incident," Carter said. His voice was low, steady, but everyone could sense the weight behind it. "Something is targeting these ships across the sector. And whatever it is, it's smart." Chief Engineer Hannah Voss leaned against a console, her brows furrowed. "The pattern is too precise to be random. Each ship's AI was wiped out in the exact same way across completely different alien technologies." She paused, looking up. No known virus, weapon, or EMP could do that. This is something new. Lieutenant Gregor Ruiz, one of Hannah's top engineers, ran a final scan on the strange symbols they had pulled from the Kryn ship. "These markings still don't match any known alien language," he said. "It's not Kryn, not Cypherian, not Excelfar. If it's a message, we can't translate it." Carter narrowed his eyes. What if it's not a message? What if it's a signature? The room fell silent. A pattern of fear. Carter turned to the station's long-range sensors. The damaged ships had come from different parts of the galaxy, but their last recorded coordinates told a terrifying story. Every single ship had passed through a region of space that didn't officially exist. A dead sector marked on old maps as uninhabitable, with no known habitable planets, no colonies, no trade routes, just empty, silent void. Until now. Hannah ran her fingers through her short hair, exhaling sharply. Whatever hit them came from that dead zone. She looked at Carter. "We need to know what's out there." Carter's expression darkened. "And I have a feeling we're not the first ones to go looking." The Kryn's final admission. A priority message flashed on the comms. General Vorak was calling. Carter accepted the transmission, and the Kryn's scared face appeared on screen. Unlike before, he didn't look impatient. He looked shaken. "You found the signal," Vorak stated. It wasn't a question. Carter nodded. "What do you know about it?" Vorak exhaled through his sharp teeth. "More than I want to admit." His red eyes darkened. "We were not the first to encounter this phenomenon. Others before us have. Vanished." Hannah leaned forward. "Vanished? You mean destroyed?" Vorak hesitated. "No. If they had been destroyed, we would have found wreckage. But there was nothing. Entire ships gone without a trace. No distress calls, no escape pods, no remains." A heavy silence filled the room. Carter's mind raced. An unknown force that could erase entire warships from existence. That wasn't just an anomaly. That was a threat. Ruiz turned back to the scan data. "The real question is, why didn't the Kryn ships disappear like the others?" Vorak's claws tightened into a fist. "Because we ran." Carter's stomach dropped. Kryn warriors never ran. For them to flee from something meant only one thing. It was unstoppable. The fleet's desperation. More transmissions flooded in. Other alien captains, some from proud warrior races, others from neutral traders, were all asking for help. Titan Station had now become more than just a repair bay. It was the last hope for a fleet of stranded ships. Hannah's fingers flew across the console. "We need more data. If we can figure out what this force is, maybe we can figure out how to stop it." Carter exhaled. "And if we can't?" The room went silent. No one wanted to answer that. Vorak finally broke the silence. "If we can't stop it," his voice was grim, "then it will come for all of us. And nothing in this galaxy will be able to fight back." Carter stared out at the fleet of broken, helpless ships. His jaw tightened. "Not if I can help it." The next step. Hannah turned back to Carter. "We need a ship, Commander. One we can send out there to investigate." Carter nodded. "And I know just the one. Everyone turned to the docking bay feed, where one human warship sat waiting, a small but heavily modified corvette, fast and stealthy. Its name, the Intrepid. "We're going into the dead zone," Carter said. His voice was firm, unshaken, "and we're going to find out what's really out there." The unknown threat was waiting, and humanity was about to face it head-on. The Kryn's desperate plea. The control room of Titan Station was silent, except for the hum of machinery and the faint crackle of static from the comms. Commander Elias Carter leaned forward, eyes fixed on the screen displaying the Kryn fleet. Their flagship, a heavily armored dreadnought, floated ominously in the void, its hull dark and scarred, its once mighty energy cores flickering like a dying flame. Hannah Voss, the station's chief engineer, stood beside him, arms crossed. Her sharp gaze studied the data feed pouring in from the Kryn vessel. "This isn't normal battle damage," she muttered. "Their main power conduits are fried, auxiliary systems are barely holding, and their auto-repair nanites completely useless." Carter exhaled, then tapped the console. "Open a direct channel to the Kryn flagship." A moment later, General Vorak's scared face filled the screen again. His red reptilian eyes burned with frustration, but Carter saw something else there too, something rare for a Kryn warrior. Fear. "You've seen our reports," Vorak said. "Can you repair our ships?" Carter wasn't one to waste time. "Yes, but I want to know what did this to you." For a second, Vorak said nothing. His jaw tightened. The Kryn were known for hiding their weaknesses, for never admitting defeat. Whatever had attacked them had shaken them deeply. "We were traveling through the outer sectors," Vorak finally said. His voice was low, almost like he didn't want to speak the words aloud. "We detected an anomaly, a signal that did not match any known species. It was artificial, but beyond our understanding." Hannah frowned. "A weapon." "We thought so," Vorak growled. "But it did not strike us like a weapon. It did not fire upon us. Instead, our systems began failing one by one. Navigation, targeting, even life support. We lost control of entire decks. The ship's AI stopped responding. Our engineers fought to restore power, but nothing worked." He leaned closer to the screen, his eyes narrowing. Whatever this was, it was not an attack. It was something worse. Carter exchanged a glance with Hannah. This wasn't just a simple repair job. "Why come to us?" Carter asked, folding his arms. "You Kryn don't usually trust human engineers." Vorak let out a breath. It was almost like he didn't want to say the next words. "Because human engineers think differently." His voice was quiet but firm. "You fix things without relying on preset protocols. You see solutions that our people do not." Carter and Hannah exchanged another look. This was bigger than a simple breakdown. Something was happening out there, something powerful enough to cripple the galaxy's strongest warships. And now, alien fleets were turning to humanity as their only hope. The control room lights flickered. A new alert flashed on the screen. More ships were arriving. Not just Kryn, Zephyrians, Selphar, even a few rogue traders. All of them were damaged. All of them had been affected by the same mysterious force. Carter's jaw tightened. "Get the repair crews ready." And Hannah, find out what the hell is going on. Titan Station had just become the last hope for the galaxy's stranded fleets. But something told Carter that repairs alone wouldn't be enough. Something was coming. And humanity was now part of it. The impossible damage. Titan Station's repair bay was a bustling storm of activity. Human engineers, mechanics, and droids rushed between docking platforms, assessing the damage on the newly arrived alien ships. The air was thick with the scent of burnt circuits, hydraulic fluid, and ozone from malfunctioning energy cores. Chief Engineer Hannah Voss stood on the main observation deck, staring at the crippled Kryn dreadnought docked at Bay 4. The ship, once a symbol of power, now looked lifeless and broken. Its armored hull bore no external damage, no scorch marks, no impact craters. Yet its systems were failing from the inside out. "This doesn't make sense," Hannah muttered. Beside her, Lieutenant Gregor Ruse, one of her senior engineers, tapped his datapad. "We've seen ship-wide system failures before," he said, "but nothing like this. It's like the ship is rejecting its own technology." Hannah narrowed her eyes. Rejecting. That was an odd way to put it, but it felt disturbingly accurate. Kryn ships were built with redundancy in mind. Hardened circuits, backup cores, self-repair nanites. Yet every single failsafe had failed. Carter's voice crackled through the comms. "Hannah, I want a full systems check on that dreadnought. Something took it down, and I need to know what." She sighed, grabbing her tool belt. On it, inside the Kryn dreadnought. As the airlock hissed open, Hannah and her team stepped into the silent, dimly lit corridors of the Kryn warship. The usual hum of active machinery was gone. Emergency lights flickered, casting eerie shadows across the walls. "This place gives me the creeps," muttered Senior Tech Marcus Bell, scanning the hallway with his diagnostic visor. "It's like the ship is dead." Hannah moved forward, her boots echoing in the silence. Kryn engineers stood by, watching them cautiously. They didn't like outsiders touching their ships. But right now, they had no choice. She reached a main access panel, pried it open, and connected her diagnostic tablet. The screen flashed red. "Damn it," she whispered. Ruiz leaned over her shoulder. "What?" Hannah tapped the screen, disbelieving what she saw. "The ship's AI core isn't responding. It's not just offline. It's completely erased." Ruiz's eyes widened. "Erased? That's impossible. You'd need a direct access override, and even then." "Look at the power distribution logs," Hannah interrupted. She scrolled through lines of data. "See this? It's like something overrode every failsafe, bypassed all backups, and just shut everything down." Marcus gulped. "Like a virus." Hannah shook her head. "Not a virus. Something else." A loud metallic groan echoed down the corridor, making everyone freeze. The Kryn engineers stiffened. Their leader, a burly technician named Skull, gripped his plasma tool tightly. "We hear this sound since attack," he growled. "Not from ship structure. Sound comes from inside." Hannah and her team exchanged uneasy glances. "We need to get to the central systems bay," she said. "If there's a pattern to this, we'll find it there." A hidden signal. The systems bay was deep within the dreadnought's core. When the human engineers arrived, they found something chilling. Every control console was dark, every system unresponsive, except for one flickering panel at the far end of the room. Hannah stepped forward cautiously and activated it. The screen glowed with strange, pulsing symbols, ones no known alien species had ever used before. "What the hell is this?" Ruse whispered. The symbols flashed in an irregular pattern, like they were trying to send a message. Then, suddenly, a hidden transmission activated. A faint, rhythmic ping echoed through the speakers. It wasn't Kryn technology. It wasn't anything they recognized. Skull stepped forward, his reptilian features dark with unease. This was not here before. Hannah's stomach twisted. This wasn't just a malfunction. Something had left this message behind. And whoever, or whatever, it was still watching. The growing mystery. Back at the station, Carter listened as Hannah relayed her findings. His expression darkened with every word. "We're dealing with more than just a system failure," she said. "Something got inside that ship and shut it down from within." Carter exhaled slowly. "Are we talking about sabotage?" Hannah hesitated. "If it was sabotage, it's more advanced than anything I've ever seen. It's not just breaking their systems, it's rewriting them." Carter stared at the holographic display of the growing fleet of broken ships outside Titan Station. Every single one of them had suffered the same fate. A creeping sense of unease settled over him. "This isn't an attack," he murmured. "It's a test." Hannah frowned. "What kind of test?" Carter looked out at the endless void of space. One to see who can still fight back. The unusual rush at Titan Station. Titan Repair Station floated silently above a barren moon, its massive docking arms reaching out like mechanical limbs. It was the largest human-run repair bay in this sector, a place where broken ships came to be fixed, upgraded, or patched together before heading back into the stars. Normally, the station worked on a few ships at a time, mostly human freighters or small alien traders. But today was different. Commander Elias Carter stood in the control room, staring at the chaotic mess on his screens. The station's exterior cameras showed something he had never seen before. Dozens of alien ships, all waiting, their engines dim and their hulls battered. The ships weren't just from one species. They came from all over the galaxy. Zephyrians, Selphar, even a few Iran warships. But the one that caught Carter's attention the most was the massive dreadnought of the Kryn Empire. The Kryn were not known for asking humans for help. They were one of the most powerful warrior species in the galaxy, proud and ruthless. Their technology was advanced, their ships nearly indestructible. Yet here they were, waiting in line like everyone else. "Commander," a voice crackled over the comms. It was Lieutenant Harris, the station's traffic control officer. "We've got more incoming. Another Kryn battleship just dropped out of FTL. That makes 3. Carter frowned. This wasn't normal. Something had shaken these aliens to their core. He turned to Chief Engineer Hannah Voss, who stood next to him, arms crossed, eyes narrowed at the screen. "This isn't a normal repair job," she muttered. "Look at their power signatures. Half of them are running on emergency reserves. That's not just damage, it's system failure." Carter nodded. He tapped the console and opened a direct channel to the Kryn flagship. A moment later, the scared face of General Vorak filled the screen. His reptilian features were tense, his red eyes sharp. "We require immediate repairs," Vorak said, his voice clipped. Carter raised an eyebrow. "You don't look like someone who usually waits in line. What's going on, General?" Vorak hesitated. Kryn warriors were known for their pride. Asking for help was rare. Begging for it, unheard of. "Our ships are compromised," Vorak admitted at last. "A force beyond our understanding has disabled our systems. No Kryn engineer has been able to fix the damage." His jaw tightened. "But humans can." Carter exchanged a look with Hannah. That confirmed it. Something out there was attacking these ships in a way their own creators couldn't fix. "Send us your damage reports," Carter said. "We'll have a look." Vorak didn't answer immediately. Then, after a long pause, he nodded and cut the transmission. Hannah exhaled sharply. "This isn't just about repairs, is it?" "No," Carter agreed, his expression dark. "This is bigger than we thought." Below them, the line of alien ships continued to grow, waiting for the one thing that could save them: human expertise. Something was coming, and humanity was at the center of it. Humanity's crucial role. The Intrepid sat in docking bay 2, her sleek hull reflecting the dim station lights. Unlike the alien ships in Titan Station's repair crew, she was undamaged, fully operational, and ready for a mission. Commander Elias Carter stood on the observation deck, overlooking the ship. He had handpicked the Intrepid for this assignment, a small, agile corvette built for deep space reconnaissance. If anything could slip into the dead sector, investigate, and return safely, it was this ship. Behind him, Hannah Voss and General Vorak were locked in discussion. The Kryn warlord was visibly uneasy, something Carter had rarely seen. The Kryn were a proud race, known for brute force and unshakable confidence. "Not today. We should be sending a fleet," Vorak growled. "One ship alone is suicide." Carter shook his head. "A fleet would be too noticeable. If this force can wipe out entire warships, we need to understand it first before we charge in blind." Hannah nodded. "We need to know what it is, how it works, and most importantly, how to stop it." Vorak's reptilian eyes narrowed. And if your ship disappears like the others, Carter exhaled, then you'll know what we're up against. The crew prepares. The Intrepid's crew was small, handpicked for their skills and experience. Lieutenant Gregor Ruiz, senior engineer responsible for analyzing any anomalies in real time. Ensign Lion Park, communications and sensors specialist, tasked with detecting any signals or unknown transmissions. Chief Security Officer Darius Cole, a former Marine, there to handle any threats up close. And finally, Hannah Voss herself would be joining them, the only engineer capable of reverse engineering alien tech on the fly. As they suited up, Ruiz glanced at Hannah. "You nervous?" She scoffed, excited, but her fingers tightened around the straps of her gear. They all knew the risk. No ship had ever returned from the dead sector. They were about to be the first to try. Into the dead sector. The Intrepid launched smoothly, breaking free from Titan Station's docking clamps and heading into the abyss. As they approached the dead sector, the stars thinned. The space around them became unnaturally empty, void of debris, asteroids, or cosmic dust. "This place is wrong," muttered Ensign Park, watching the readings. "It's like something has cleaned the sector." Ruiz frowned. No signs of wreckage. No remnants of the ships that vanished. "Nothing," Park said, "like they were never here." Hannah bit her lip. "That doesn't make sense. Ships don't just vanish." Carter stared at the vast, dark void ahead. His instincts screamed that something was watching them. First contact. A ping echoed through the ship. Not a distress signal. Not an SOS. The same strange transmission from the Kryn dreadnought. Everyone froze. "It's coming from ahead," Park whispered. "Source?" Carter asked. Park hesitated, then pointed at the main screen. The view screen flashed, revealing the first object they had seen in the dead sector. A structure. No, a massive station hidden deep in the void. Ruiz's voice was hushed. "That's not a Kryn outpost." "No," Carter agreed, his eyes locked on the unknown station. It was larger than Titan Station, but unlike anything human or alien-made. Its surface pulsed with faint, unnatural lights. "This thing has been here a long time," Hannah whispered. "Maybe centuries, maybe longer." And then, the station sent a message. Not words, not a distress signal, a response. The same alien symbols that had been burned into the Kryn ship now flashed across their screens, but this time, they were shifting, adapting. Ruiz's breath caught. "It's learning." Carter's hands tightened around the armrest. "Then let's teach it something." The final revelation. The Intrepid sensors picked up something else, something moving inside the structure. Darius Cole, watching from the weapons station, muttered, "We're not alone." A low, vibrating hum filled the ship. The strange symbols on the screen flickered faster, their patterns shifting, becoming clearer, forming something recognizable. And then, for the first time, words appeared on the screen. "You are not ready." The ship's lights flickered. The hum grew louder, and something started waking up. The final revelation, and the unknown awakens. The Intrepid hung motionless in the black void, facing the massive alien station. The strange, pulsing symbols on their screens had just shifted into something terrifyingly clear. "You are not ready." The crew sat frozen. The ship's lights flickered, and a low, vibrating hum filled the air. Deep, resonant, almost alive. Commander Elias Carter felt a chill run down his spine. He had faced pirate ambushes, planetary sieges, and near-death battles. But this was different. "Park, shut down all outgoing signals," Carter ordered. "I don't want this thing reading us any more than it already has." Ensign Lion Park scrambled to mute transmissions, but before she could respond, the ship lurched forward, on its own. Engines just came online. Ruiz shouted, "I didn't do that." Hannah Voss gritted her teeth. Something is pulling us in. The alien station's lights pulsed, growing brighter. The strange hum turned into a rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat. And then they saw movement. The unknown awakens. From deep inside the station, massive doors began to open, revealing something inside. A structure that looked neither mechanical nor organic, but something in between. "Commander," Cole's voice was unnervingly calm. "We are not alone." Figures emerged from the darkness. Not ships, not drones, but something else. They floated effortlessly toward the Intrepid, their bodies shifting like liquid metal, constantly changing shape. Their movements were precise, deliberate. Ruiz whispered, "Those aren't ships. Those are entities." Carter clenched his jaw. They weren't just facing a lost station. They had woken something up. A message from the unknown. The alien figures stopped a short distance from the Intrepid. Their shifting metallic forms twisted and reshaped, like they were analyzing the human ship. Then, the screen flashed again. The symbols rearranged into a new message. "We AAV is ENUV4. A cold silence filled the cockpit. Hannah's voice was barely above a whisper. "That's impossible." Carter's heart pounded. Before when? He looked at Vorak's scanned CRIN data from earlier, the missing ships, the erased as, the vanished crews. "What happened to the others?" he asked, voice firm. The screen changed again. "Unsuitable. ERAC'd." A sickening realization washed over them. The vanished ships weren't destroyed. They were erased from existence. Ruiz paled. "They're testing us." Carter took a deep breath, forcing himself to stay calm. "And what happens if we fail?" The screen glowed bright red. Extinction. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring. Energy readings spiked off the charts. Something was charging up inside the alien station. And then, a beam of pure energy shot out, but it didn't hit them. Instead, it reached past them, deep into space. Carter watched in shock as the starfield behind them distorted, the very fabric of reality twisting and breaking. "They're not just erasing ships," Hannah whispered. "They're erasing space itself. Humanity's stand." Carter didn't hesitate. "Weapons online. Shields max power. We need to get the hell out of here. Now." Ruiz frantically worked the controls. "Engines are barely responding. Whatever they did is still pulling us in." The alien figures suddenly twitched, reacting to Carter's command. "Resist ANC." Unlike others. For the first time, the station hesitated. Hannah's mind raced. "They expect us to give up. That's why they're testing species. They see how we react under pressure." Carter's eyes narrowed. "Then let's show them what humanity does best." Asterisk asterisk. He turned to Ruiz. "Can you override the engines manually?" Ruiz's hands flew across the controls. "I can try, but..." "Do it." Hannah grabbed a toolkit and ripped open the ship's main power conduit. Sparks flew as she bypassed the ship's interface, forcing direct control. The alien figures twitched again. "Adapt IV." Unlike others. The Intrepid roared to life. Carter seized the controls. "Brace yourselves." With a deafening surge of power, the ship broke free of the station's pull, spinning hard away from the gravitational force. The alien station's lights pulsed furiously, but it made no attempt to stop them. The last message flashed across their screen. "You are DIFFE ardent." And then, silence. The alien figures drifted backward, retreating into the darkness of the station. The Intrepid shot back toward Titan Station, leaving the unknown behind. The aftermath. The crew sat in stunned silence, the ship's engines humming steadily. The alien station was still visible on their sensors, but the energy buildup had stopped. Hannah leaned against the console, exhausted. "They let us go." Carter's hands were still gripping the controls. No, not let us go. They were waiting, watching. These things weren't trying to kill us, he said finally. They were trying to understand us. Ruiz ran a final scan. No pursuit. No signals. Vorek's voice crackled over comms. What did you find? Carter exhaled. Something old. Something powerful. And it's been watching us for a long time. Asterisk, asterisk. Silence. Then Vorek said, then we are not alone. Carter clenched his jaw. Not alone at all. Epilogue. A warning to the galaxy. Back at Titan Station, Carter stood before a holographic recording of their mission. The alien message flickered. You are not ready. Hannah, arms crossed, muttered. Ready for what? Carter didn't answer. He just stared at the screen. Whatever had tested them wasn't done. And humanity. They had just taken their first step into a much larger war.